We're live now.
Okay, just a moment. Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
In Germany, guten Tag, in Poland, dzień dobry, in France, bonjour, in Spain, hola, in Italy, ciao, in Egypt, ahlan wa sahlan, in Ghana, akwaba, in Nigeria, hello, in South Africa, salmona, in Senegal, Bangladesh, in Kenya, jambo, in Israel, shalom, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all.
Well, all right. Hello and greetings to all of you. This is Mama Joy here on the Female Solution and Walk in Your Authority. So happy that you can join us right now. We are live on StreamYard and Facebook. And we also, you can call in at the Blog Talk Radio, which is 315-5515-605-9325, or call direct into the line at 727-731-5192. Well, our guest today is Ms. Jamika Smith, and we'll be hearing from her very soon. Again, I'm Mama Joy here in Chicago, Chi-Town. Thanking you for tuning in and to hear of this young mother and wife who she shares her story as she is celebrating and honoring her grandmother with Teena's legacy. And so, before we get started, I would just like to let you know, we can just calm down a little bit. I had an experience with my family reunion not too long ago. In fact, I've just come back from New Orleans. And amazingly, so often when I go now, at one time, I was a child. And grandma was there and auntie was there and all my cousins and everything. And I would just be tagging along. But now, quickly as it has come, I'm the matriarch of the family now. So everyone looks to me. And it's a kind of awkward position to get into. I said, I never expected that to happen, But it's amazing. And so now when I go, there's a whole lot of kids. And I say lot because they're generations underneath me. And the reality of that generational legacy really became a reality to me. It's something that I know I didn't really think that much on, but as I go back to visit my family, many are leaving and many are coming in. So you lose some in the family and then you're welcoming new births. And it's a continuous thing. And the question is, what are we going to add to the continuum of that legacy to bring some wealth, to bring some richness? And so I, believe it or not, I made a little booklet and Sharon helped me with it. And it was putting my grandmother as the compass for our family legacy. Because she would take us to the outer skirts of the city in a bus. Yeah, in a bus. Ride the whole family from New Orleans and go taking us to White Castle. And I didn't think too much of it. But now I'm at this point where I can see that grandmoms play a pretty important role in our family. And it's important that we connect with our grandparents, whether it's from the paternal side or our maternal side, because once they leave, if we don't get the information from them, a lot will be lost. So I'm saying right now, value your grandparents. Ask them about their stories and see what inspiration you can get from them. And it just so happened that I had spoken with Jamika last month about being on the show, not factoring in the fact that I had a family reunion. And the very thing that she is going to be discussing, how her grandmother inspired her to do the work that she's doing now, is very, I could say, not just important, but it's valuable. And I think it's a day that we should have honoring our grandparents and telling their stories to find out just how much they really mean to us, the stories they can leave for us, so that we will know better what to expect in the future. So now I'm even thinking about going down to New Orleans a lot more regularly, simply because when I was born in a time that a season that the children should be seen and not heard, my voice wasn't valued very much. But today I'm saying that's not so, because I remember, and I'm one of the little kids that was on that bus. They didn't think too much of, but I remember the journey that my grandmother took me. And I had an opportunity to share that. And they were so surprised. How could you remember that? Because I love my grandmom and I listened and I valued her. And so maybe today, when Teena comes on, she'll be able to express her relationship with her grandmother. And this particular project that she's working on came after her grandmother passed. And I believe that's one of the things we should remember, is that they may be gone in the flesh, but they're still with us in the spirit. And so I want Sharon to just give a quick video so you can take a view of this young lady's work. Are you ready? Okay, let's do that. As he's preparing that, I would just like for you to just see some of the things that she's done. And the work that she's done has not just been for her family alone, but for other people's families. She's gone into schools. She's even had a health setup where we went out and did some yoga and walks. you, I remember those things. Mariah was quite young. So Sharon, let me know when you're ready. He said he had a quick video to show and share with our audiences some of the work that you've done, because I want to talk about this journey that you made just from the alley, and then golly gee, you wind up in an artist center. Okay, we need some sound. Got us going. Okay, all right. So without further ado, I would just like to introduce to you the one and only Miss Jamika Smith from OR I should say not from, but CEO and creator of Teena's Legacy that started in Chicago but is now in Indiana. She's had it in many places. You know what? You blessed several states, haven't you, with this idea? So here we
I
go.
have, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Well, come on and give us your story. My God. What is this? Before you sell or toss out your old furniture, consider bringing it back to life. Oh, I haven't seen that one. So Sharon picked that up. That's really cool. That's really cool. So is that your claim? You bringing it back to life, huh?
Yeah, so that is my for-profit, Affirm My Design, and then I have the nonprofit, which is in honor of my grandma, Albertine Strudrick, and her nickname was Teena. So
Okay, now
yeah,
that's
Teena's
so you have an
Legacy.
own. So you have a now you have a for profit. So you have two
Yeah,
organizations.
the for-profit was actually birthed out of the pandemic because I wasn't able to do Tina's Legacy work. Everything was shut down. I wasn't able to go into schools or, different organizations. So I had to generate some type of income. And hence, I've always wanted to start a for profit. But the pandemic ushered it along quicker than I wanted it. It was easy for people to drop their furniture off, and I can reupholster the pieces, and then I can sit it back out there and they could just pick it on up, right?
Yeah,
So that's how I provided, I played a part in my part in providing for my family by incorporating an LLC, which is Affirm My Designs.
totally unaware of that. So in other words, you were working during the COVID.
Yeah, I was working, and actually, the way that God works, I prayed about it. I was like, all right, God, I'm stagnant now. Don't, you know, it's hard to maneuver because what's going on, in the world financially. So this is a great chance. This is a great opportunity. And I think at that point, individuals had a choice. They had that choice. Do you just conform to what's going on or sit around and don't do anything? Or do you take advantage of the opportunities and the possibilities in something that was considered, traumatic and devastating for a lot of people? So I decided to, to just build off of it, and started Affirm My Design. And my first contract landed me the opportunity to reupholster like about 100 chairs for a church. So as soon as I, incorporated and put the word out, my first contract was over a $4,000 contract. So
Whoa,
yeah,
whoa, whoa! No,
yeah, and it just
I
kind of blossomed from there. So
that was
slowly but surely. And it definitely depends on the energy that I put, behind each entity. I put more energy into Tina's Legacy opposed to Affirm My Design, but they build off of each other though. You know, yeah, they work hand in hand with each other.
well. You just gave me an entity I was not even aware of, and you have had a volume of 100 shares to do at one time.
To do at one time, they drop them off, and yeah, it
Where
took
did you
about
put
a
all
month
these
or so.
shares? Where did
You
they
know what?
go?
At that time, we were living in Georgia, and it's really interesting because at that time we was living in Georgia. In Georgia, I rented out a space for Tina's Legacy. Um, it was this cute little house where they converted into commercial property. It had like 5 bedrooms, and each bedroom had their own theme and their own operational component to it. We had the sewing room, we had the art room, we had the display room, we had the work room. Um, but again, because of the pandemic, I had to, pivot, close the space. Money wasn't really coming in. That's actually those pictures um, was in that particular space in Georgia. Had to close it up, and then silly.
I ask Sharon if he can increase the size of those pictures so the viewers can see it. Yeah, increase the size.
Yeah,
Very good. So though, oh wow, that these you did in Georgia.
yeah, those are a set that I reupholstered in Georgia. Just kind of tapping into my creativity,
Well,
doing
how
something
did you
different.
manage you know some people from Georgia? How were you able to do that?
Well, no, we do not. My mom lived there, so she moved there first, and we followed her after. So we were raised. I was born and raised on the southwest side of Chicago, and in the Leclerc Courts, like by the airport on 45th and Cicero. So my upbringing is pretty much the south side of Chicago, southwest side of Chicago. And I have siblings. Things got a little, started to get a little rough in the neighborhood. So my mom made the conscious decision to move. Um, so actually, she moved us from the Leclerc Courts to Memphis, Tennessee when I was in the 7th grade. So I lived in Memphis for about 10 years or so, and then graduated from high school. And once we graduated from high school, she moved back to the Leclerc Courts to Chicago. And we had like little siblings, and they grew up in that particular area. She moved more south of in Chicago, and it got a little rough in the Chicago lawn, Inglewood area. And she just said, you know what? I got to get these boys out of this community. um,
Wow.
yeah, so she made another decision. Instead of Memphis, she moved to Georgia, and she took, my brothers with her, and there, that's where she's now. So I think it's been like 9 years she's been there. 8, yep, 9 years so far.
Oh, so when your mother was in town at your affair, she doesn't live here in
She
Chicago.
does not. They all of them came from Georgia. Yep. So they
Oh
jumped in the van
my
and
gosh.
head on down to support her baby.
Oh, hooray. Hooray. I wasn't aware. I thought she was here in Chicago. So your mom came from Georgia.
Hmm.
Wow. You know, how apropos that you would mention that because on my way to my family reunion, I stopped over in Atlanta, Georgia
Hmm.
to support some friends of mine who were working on a proclamation for nonviolence, a National Nonviolence Day of April
Mm.
the 4th. And here you are with your strings attached to, Georgia. And I had no idea. And your mom and dad, they are all there in Georgia. So
Well, just
you're
my
simply
mom. My dad is here in Chicago. He's still in
okay.
Chicago, on the west side of Chicago. Yes.
And your siblings there with her.
Yep, they're all there. They're grown now, but they're all there.
Well,
Yeah, so
you just brought me into.
she's there. She's not coming back.
Oh, she's decided that Chicago is not her home anymore, huh?
Nope, she's there. And she's looking
and
for
she's
some
happy.
land to purchase.
Oh, land. Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's amazing. I'm kind of surprised at that because I met them all and talked with them, but I had no idea that they weren't here. So, you have lived in Georgia. You have lived in Chicago, and now you're married. Hello, and uh,
Yes, ma'am.
and you've done some traveling there as well. Well, how is this Tina legacy working with you being married and a mom and a daughter who is now in high school, right? Or she's entering high school, Mariah.
Please don't rush her. She's in seventh grade. She's going to the eighth grade. I'm trying to hold on to her as long as I can. Time is going by so quick.
And she is so
So I'm
mature.
trying to
She
hold
is
on
so
to her.
mature. She is
She's
so
very mature
mature.
for her age.
Very, very mature.
Yes,
So
she
she's just in
is.
seventh grade and she's tall too.
She
She got
is.
that from her
She's
dad.
probably gonna, pass me up. She's still growing. So I
Well,
said,
tell
just
me
because
how.
you're gonna be looking down on me, don't mean nothing, little girl. I'm still your mama.
Yeah, I know that's right. I know that is so true. I well, I'm from another school of thought, and we have on Female Solution. You may know Asada Kirkland,
Hmm.
who has the Soulful Book Fest here in Chicago, and she has a book that says, "Don't be, stop beating black children." And
Mhm.
I declare, maybe if I had that book before, well, I came from another school of thought. She came much
Mhm.
later. And I knew that my children were going to be tall. They all are taller than I am, every last one.
Mhm.
And I knew I was going to be short, so I had to put some kind of fear in them. That's the only way I knew how to deal with it. I'm not saying that it was right or wrong, but it was the
Yeah.
only way that I knew. And and so I had to be a little rough on them just so that they wouldn't take advantage of me. I had to fear of them getting
Mhm.
taller and taking advantage of me because I was a single parent. So I had to learn these other styles of rearing children to be able
Uh-huh.
to say, talk to them or whatever, because I didn't do too much talking. I wasn't talked to very much. It was just action all the time, all the time. So we're gonna ask Ashram, you can turn that music down, please. Turn it off or down for us, please. Thank you. Um, yeah, so I am really interested in how you managed to do all these things. Have you all done a lot of traveling since you've been with Tina Legacy?
Um, before Mariah, before Psy, I traveled a lot, at least 4 times out of the year. It was something that I loved to do, and I think it was something embedded in me as a child because my grandmother, she was a traveler. She loved to travel, and I just kind of, she was always on a go. She just loved, she never really liked to sit still. She always wanted to experience and see and touch and taste, different things. In 2008, I met Cyron in 2005. 2008, we got married. In 2011, here pops Mariah. Here she comes. And, with those comes responsibility, and it slows you down. And I slowed down a lot, because, is has his own purpose and his own mission, calling on his life. And he takes that very seriously and he's very committed to his calling. So for me, it was an adjustment. And I think to the point at the beginning, um, like especially in my family, there was like no real model marriage, a model that I can really kind of model from on what does it look like to be a wife. What does that look like? How do you navigate in that space and in that road? So
Mm.
I made it up as I went as I went along. In my mind, what you
Mm.
supposed to do is probably do the opposite of what your aunts and your mamas and your grandma did, because the aunts, the
Ooh.
grandmas, the mamas, they were very strong, and very independent. My grandmother taught me always have your own. Her thing was God blesses the child that have your own, right? So I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
remember even in my teen years when I started dating, have your own money. If he pays, that's good. But if you want to be a jerk, just make sure you can get
You.
home. Make sure you have a quarter to call home. Make sure you know that license plate number. Make
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean, and those were really some wise thoughts. And I even talk with some of the young ladies because I think that on the overall, not only our mothers, but I think when we understand the importance of community and having that family spirit, our elders have a responsibility to impart that kind of wisdom to our young people, not just the parents, because so many of us are having parents who are very young, and
Mhm.
and they need support. They need support
Yes.
in their efforts that they're raising their children. And so I as a community worker, and then of course I work with Saran too, that that same spirit is encouraged in the community to not discipline but remind our children, remind the families that we have
Mhm.
responsibilities to each other and obligations to create a safe environment for everyone, particularly our children. So
Mhm.
I tell
Yes.
my kids the same things, and we also have a real unique program here, the Three Sisters, and they bounce off each other with the wisdom and what they have learned from life itself. And
Mhm.
maybe you can tune into that sometimes because I hear things that my mom used to say, but I don't hear too many mothers at this time saying that. And like I said, we all need to have encouragement. We all need encouragement. Well, you have managed to deal with all of these changes of traveling and raising a young lady who's now a seventh grader. And so we're going to have a commercial break, and then we get back. I want to about some of the spiritualities or some of the core beliefs that you had to garner up in order to keep this legacy idea and in action. Okay, so just bear with us. We will be
Okay.
right
All
back.
right.
So don't stray away. Stay right here. Okay.
Oh,
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
okay.
Okay, waiting for some callers to come in and so that we can get some comments on this young lady here. And let's see what our sponsors have to say.
We all say we would like to be wealthy, but wealth isn't determined by how much money you have. Wealth is determined by your power to define what money is. The dictionary defines money as something used as a way to pay for goods and services and to pay people for their work. So how would you like to have access to an unlimited source of money? Money that is not taxed by the government. Money that increases as you share the opportunity with others. Money that you can use to pay for goods and services and pay people for their
Look
work.
at that beautiful house.
I'm talking about Bitcoin. It's the future of independent wealth building.
Yes.
Bitcoin is the new money that you control. So I asked Dad. Get started building your wealth. Call 312-849-3456. That's 312-849-3456. We all say we would like to be wealthy, but wealth isn't determined by how much money you have. Wealth is determined by your power to define what money is. The dictionary defines money as something used as a way to pay for goods and services and to pay people for their work. So how would you like to have access to an unlimited source of money? Money. We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I'm Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com.
Well, I believe, and welcome back, and thank you all for being right here with us guest, Sister Miss Jamika Smith of Teena Legacy. She has both a profit and a nonprofit organization that is geared towards healing, building relationships in such a unique way through her inspiration for a legacy and generational wealth through her grandmother. And I like to talk about this generational wealth that you speak of, that your grandmother inspired. You said she believed strongly in self sufficiency and having your own. And her vision for her family was for them to tap into their natural gifts and use them to start their own business and leave a legacy for their children. You know, when you tap into that, you tapping into something I think you can find some joy and love in it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'd like to know, what experiences have you had with operating with this understanding in Tina Legacies that has brought some healing to families or young people or older people or whatever? What have your experiences been with this?
You know, if being transparent, I don't think that the essence, the power behind this work really penetrated my spirit soul until I really owned it. And I really didn't own this process, this calling
Hmm.
until about 2 years ago. It just I just when I think back, I was just going through the motions. Um, I was just, doing the work. Um, and it wasn't until, you just had that picture of the healing cheer,
Mhm.
the healing cheer picture. I work with a beautiful spirit. Her name is Veronica Kyles, and she is one of the co-founders of Eagle Oneness Institute. And I've known her for years, but we just connected like 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And
Mhm.
yeah, and she came to one of my events that I was having on the west side of Chicago. It was a closeout event, and the women were telling the stories behind their cheers, and she was one of the audience. She was in the audience, just kind of, taking it all in. And she was like, you know what? I would love for you to come to Eco Womanist Institute and do a workshop with women who's healers in the community that need their own healing.
Hmm.
So we have like us, so many women in the community that does that work, the healing work, um the compassion work. And sometimes we need a safe space to
Hmm.
release, you know to let some of the stuff that we tend to take on. We need to release those things. So she wanted to create a safe space for those women, and it was 6 women. um and the first thing she asked me, what do you charge for your workshop?
Mhm.
And for me, you know, it I was like, "Oh, I love her. She's beautiful." And I will go straight into that, well, I'll
Mhm.
just do it, you know, for the for this particular price. And she was like, "Jamika, I went to one of your workshops, right? I understand how powerful these workshops are.
Hmm.
Why are you not charging your worth?" Um, and it was just like, it was really, she was that, you have those aunties that put you in your place, or those elders that put you in your place. And she literally, was that energy and that spirit to put me in my place and just kind of open, my heart and eyes to this process in a different way, right? And she was like, and she just shared, Jamika, this is, you're a nonprofit, I'm a nonprofit, we're going to work together. This is what um this is not what this workshop should cost, but because of this budget we have, this is a budget that you should not, like, this is the minimum, is what she said, right? This is the
Mhm.
minimum of that particular workshop. Either, you take the minimum or you charge more for your workshops. Now, if you consciously decide to work with an organization that's really just your heart, and you want to do some pro bono work, and you want
Mhm.
to, just kind of give from your heart, that would be your choice, right? You have that choice to do that. But this is the minimum.
Hmm.
And in this workshop, not only did the women have opportunities and space to heal. I had the opportunity and space to heal. Like, although I'm facilitating these workshops, I never allowed myself to really go through it myself. Right.
Hmm.
I never, it just seems as though it was more of me. I was a robot. Yep. This is what, you know, God put this in my spirit. I love doing it. You know, this is what I'm
But
going
you
to
didn't have
do.
a
But at
value.
that,
You hadn't put a value on it yet. You hadn't put a value there.
I put a value on it, and I didn't really spiritually engage in it myself.
Hmm.
I just knew that it's something needed. It's something um needed, it's something beautiful, and it's something tangible that people can touch, right? And they can touch it, they can feel it, they can embody the concept of it. And I never myself, until that particular workshop, um, took my own self through the process. So at that moment is when I said, all right, Jamika, this is what God gave you. um, Either you own it or you
Okay,
let it go,
yeah. I'm right. At
right?
what point did you take it? But
So,
I can see you had to have somebody to help you. You had your
and I
others to.
think and I think that's for most people. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't think that none of us is put on this earth to do things alone. I think that we all need some guidance and some wisdom, either it's directly or indirectly. You know what I'm saying? In her case, it was a direct engagement, a direct, you know, a spiritual interaction that ignited something in my spirit. And not even her, the women, the conversations that was going on in the workshop, the shedding of pain, the tears releasing, and just releasing,
Mhm.
identifying, strengths and weaknesses and limited beliefs and everything. So not only did they get an opportunity to experience it, I got an opportunity to experience it also. And at that moment, after that workshop, I prayed about it. I was like, okay, God, this is something unique, innovative, and different that you planted in my spirit. Um, I
That
blew
that
from
is. You know, one of the things I really appreciate what you just said, and Regina El Perello, and say thank you very much. She said this is true what you're saying, and she's
mhm.
I don't know what generation she's in, but I am so impressed with you getting this at your age because I'm just getting that message, okay? And so many of us, yeah, and so that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to speak with you, because it's important to understand that life moves so quickly, and the
Yes.
sooner that we get to the point that we're able to receive truths even about ourselves.
Mm,
Because if you find someone making the same comments no matter where you go, they
yes.
said it's just like if it says ducks quack, well, no, it's there. And all people are
Yes.
sharing with you is the wisdom that God has put in you. And it's difficult to see yourself when you're looking at yourself physically, but within is where God is, where that talent is, where that gift come from. And it's there to bring out the wealth, is to bring out the healing. It definitely has a purpose. But if you don't have someone working along with you, it is difficult to pull it out. It's difficult. And right now I've got two mentors.
And it takes longer. It takes
Yeah.
longer too.
Hmm.
It takes longer if you take this journey alone. And I have been blessed to have some amazing women come through and come in my life from my college years all the way up to today, from my psychotherapist through my college years, Dr. Gilmore, to, of course, Janine Ingram. That's your girl, and that's your sister in spirit, and my love coach. She's my love coach. And, I have a spiritual coach, Mama Niami. And then we have Miss Veronica. But the thing is so interesting, even though you have like all of these amazing, even though I've had and have all these amazing women pouring into me, these words, these confirmations of what God has instilled in me, my my soul, not I'm still growing, but the soul has been um so contaminated from 7 years old. um those words, it was like none and void, right? It was like they were
Oh,
trying to penetrate it, but
oh.
they penetrated little bit at a time, right?
Mhm,
Little
mhm.
bit at a time. To heal the soul within me by their words and their actions and things of that nature. um but it wasn't until, like I said, 2 years ago, where I had to be my own rescue and not rely on other people to do it for myself. I personally had to go through this process myself, identify those, Janine, she took me through the whole shadow work, the child work, and things of that nature. So they planted like these amazing seeds, right, in me. But my soul, the soil that I was planting this, they were planting the seeds in, it wasn't just right at that moment, right? So I had to nurture the soul in the soil, so now if you were to plant some seeds, I can you can plant it and I would know how to nourish it, I would know how to feed
Oh,
it. And I believe it's a lifelong journey. I'm
mm,
still on the journey. I'm very clear now that I'm clear and now that I'm aware, it's amazing how things happen. Hence the art exhibit that I've never thought that
well,
something like
before,
that
just
would happen.
hold a little pin into that because Regina is saying, she says, I'm a baby boomer, and we do need to share the pain that we've held down for generations.
Yes.
And I you must have named at least six people, right? Who
Mhm.
you have in your amen corner or
Mhm.
your own personal mother camp that
Mhm.
that you can pull on. And my thought at this time is
Mhm.
that's extraordinary for you at your age to actually embrace that kind of wisdom from others because most are not
Mhm.
receptive. So, what do you think
Mhm.
allowed you to come to that conclusion that I need some help? Can you pinpoint any particular experience that you have to that caused that? I'm beginning to understand at this particular late, I wouldn't say late stage. I guess when I get it, it's time for me to get it. Okay. It's and
Mhm.
so let me be grateful for getting it and wanting to share because there's so many of us leaving and not sharing our pain, not sharing our stories for many reasons. So, like Miss Regina, she's there. If you want to, you can even give us a call. At you, if you're watching, you can give us a call at the number there, because I feel this is something that we really need to share with our young people, share with each other. sometimes our pain comes from situations and we're not really proud of, but telling them the stories because you're not actually violating, you actually are victors. You're
Mm-hmm.
victorious. And many times, because of the way we've been raised, at least for myself, and that's why I'm so proud of you, is the fact that you're at a point where you're receptive to wisdom and you are honoring the life of your grandmother. And you're open to other people. And Zelda, she's saying, "Grand afternoon, beautiful queens. This is such a healing space." She has a wonderful show as well here on the Female Solution too. And she said, "Thank you both for being so vulnerable." And we have a picture now of those healing chairs.
According to Wikipedia,
Do it.
Sharon.
Each of them have their own story. Sharon, can you increase that size so we can see these healing chair stories in the garden and share them with our audience? Can you make it a little larger? Let me see.
Breaking
Uh,
up a little bit. Can you say that again?
can you see it large? The healing chair stories. Um,
Yes.
Regina, can you see this? Can you see it now? A little larger. I made it larger on my screen. I don't know if it's coming across to the listeners. It says healing chair stories in the garden. Oh, she says she can't see the number. I apologize. There are two numbers, Regina. The first one is 515-605-9325. 515-605-9325. And the other one is 723-731-5292. Okay, here are three pictures here. And here we have the stories. Can you give us a brief on that?
Grandma,
What's going
this is so
Yes. Let me just to piggyback on what you were saying, Mama Joy. When I had my space in Georgia, uh, all of the rooms had like some type of positive affirmation. Um, in the room, and in the children's room where we did like the arts and crafts and things of that nature, on the work on the wall I had a scripture, the Deuteronomy scripture, from I think it's like 11, but it just kind of told the story about how our children need to hear the stories of our past and their families. I'm just paraphrasing, but in that particular scripture, it was just talking about that you have to tell your story in order for the generations to come to be healed, right? So they can be healed. So even for my 12-year-old, um, I have to tell her my story, but I just wanted to put that out there when you talk about the story, that it is, although there's shame attached to some people's stories and guilt are attached to those stories, and yes, pain is attached to the story. But telling the story is where the healing comes. And when we talk about the healing cheer stories, that was the foundation. So each one of these ladies, I provided the cheers, but each one of these ladies went through a 6-step process, and that process led them to, um, at the end, the opportunity to tell the story of the woman that they are inspiring to become. So each one of these cheers, from picking out the fabric to picking out the old staples to removing the old staples to replacing them with the new, they came out of the process with the understanding of who they are as individuals, where they're at in their life right now, and where they're trying to go, right? Because as long as we have, air and breath in our lungs, as long as we're on this earth, right? We are here to experience, life in God's eyes, experience life to the feel it to the fullest, and even experience our own self and learn more about our own self until we leave this earth, right? So although the women here, they were, I think a couple of them was my age or a little, younger. I think the oldest was 65, maybe knocking on 70, I think. But even for her, she realized that her work is not done. She still have a lot to do, and her cheer kind of told that story. So, oh, you're on mute, Mama Joy. You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Thank you so much. Right. You're this is on South Merle, and this is in the
Yes, it
garden.
was the South Side.
Yeah, so
Yep.
this is
So,
outdoor. Yeah,
yes.
I know that area, right. And so you were able to I
So,
can't
it
mhm.
was 3 sessions. So, it was
In the
3
garden? 3
events,
sessions in the
and it
garden.
was 6 ladies. It was 3 Yeah, it was 3 separate events. The cheers was there, but so 2 women at a time told their story. So it was for 3 months. The 3rd, I think Saturday of the month, but all of them told their story at the same time. 2 women told their stories once a month. Um, but they all had their cheers out there. And the first event was amazing. We had a lot of people out there. We had food, we had drinks, we had music, and told their story. So it was just like this really amazing, peaceful, eventful, meaningful event, intimate event. Yeah.
Ooh, my stars. I'm just looking at this. I said, this is amazing because I didn't know you had done. You have been working in many various setups, many different kind of setups, and I think that this is unique too because I always saw you inside, but I didn't know that you were actually in the community sharing your gifts and had people speaking on these. Oh my stars. Will you be sure to share with them uh, this link and let them know that they were definitely recognized? Okay. So we're going
Yes.
to prepare now for our second portion of our sponsorship, and we'll be right back. And so don't go away. And what is this blooming out of trauma? Can we go there next?
We can
How
go
does
there
these
next.
chairs work for helping you to bloom out of trauma and not be trashed by the trauma? I tell you, that's a thought. So victory, let's get our energy up because this is a victory moment. And okay, Regina, let me see if I can get someone to post those numbers higher. It's too small. Okay, I'll see what I can do about it during these commercials. Thank you. Okay, very good. We've got some on the line. If you have a comment, just press one, and I'll be right with you. I see a couple. Just we'll be right back with you with our commercials as soon as the commercials are done. We'll be right back on. Okay. Thank you so very, very, very much. And let me see. Add on card news network. Add on card. Okay, Zelda Speaks by Vigata. Thank you very much.
I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solutions Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of associated internet radio hosts, On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platforms to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born to be. Once we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insight, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to onaireverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time. I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark.
Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
welcome back. Welcome back. We want to thank you for staying right here and not straying away. Our guest here today, here on Walking Your Authority with Mama Joy, is Miss Jamika Smith. And you know what? For some reason, I just want to say your
Yes.
maiden name because was your grandmother was there, and I like to get your birth name. How about that? Give us your birth name. What do you think about that? Oh, wow. Mama Latif. Regina says to Mama Latif, thank you for inviting me here. Well, thank you. My CEO, she's on it. She's on it. We love her too. She knows how to get support. And we appreciate, Regina, you coming in. We also have some callers on now. And there's one that is on, and I'm going to, their mic is already open. So I think they're ready for a comment. That's 5192. Can you give us your name, please, and where are you calling from? Okay. Is it 5192? Okay. All right. Am I doing this right? Let's see. Okay. Well, I don't know. Well, guess maybe they had a step. All righty. Well, we're going to continue on. I see others. Thank you so much for joining us. Now we're going to continue speaking about Teena's legacy. Empowers individuals to work through triggers and issues and uses reupholstering furniture as a tool to empower their healing. You know, I just wanted to just put a little scripture in there for a minute. Uh, it was what Jesus said. He says, when the students are ready, the teacher's going to come.
Hmm.
And I think about what you're speaking about, and just give us a little tad bit about that little alley story. I love that alley story. Your walk was that with your mom in the alley? Because that to me was amazing. If ever the spirit was speaking to you and got you in emotion, you just didn't take off with this upholstery and now we're at blooming out of trauma. I want you to talk about just this little walk in the alley. Was it in Chicago? Was it in Georgia? Was it in Tennessee? Where was it that kicked all this off?
Yeah, so that on the south side of Chicago.
Oh,
Um, well, the backstory is my grandmother used to make my brother and I dumpster dive whenever she felt like it. Whenever her spirit hit, that spirit hit me and my brother. Her creative spirit hit me and my brother also. So it was just one day, it was this dresser set in on the street. Somebody threw it out and she made me and my brother go and retrieve it, right? Didn't care that, our friends was out there, didn't, she didn't mind, she didn't care. So we're out there getting this dresser. And the thing about it wasn't close, right? It's like we had to walk over to get it, and then we have to hug it, bring it on, into the house. And it was a little embarrassing, how we're getting secondhand furniture, and bringing it into the house. So I was really upset, and I kind of vowed, as a youngster that I'm not going to dumpster dive. That was kind of traumatic for me. But moving years later, moving forward, I was a stay-at-home mom, and my spirit was just telling me, okay, it's time to do something. I have her spirit in me of not, don't feel comfortable just sitting still. You gotta go, you gotta do something. So I thought that I can be a stay-at-home mom, but my spirit was like, you ain't no stay-at-home mom. So in reflection and praying, all right, God, if you don't want me to be a stay-at-home mom, what you want me to do? Like,
mhm.
what do you want me to do? My background is social work and nonprofit management. And I was like, okay, so if I was to go back to the nonprofit world, I would like to start my own. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what that would look like, but I used to, just kind of take my baby to the park, and we can walk to the park where I was living, and there was like this ugly Chase Lounge in the alley right adjacent, right across from my home. And I think I passed it by like 2 or 3 times. And I
Mm.
just side-eyed it. I just look over there and side-eyed and be like, "Oh, it's still there." And then I go back up, side-eyed it again. But it was just one day, I'm coming from the park, and I got my baby in a stroller, and the spirit was so strong. Her spirit was so strong. And that spirit was like, "Girl, if you don't get that Chase Lounge right now, something gonna happen if you don't get that Chase Lounge right now." And my flesh was like, "You ain't about to go and get that dirty Chase Lounge and bring it in your house. It's been in the alley for like 4 days." But my spirit was like, "Get the Chase Lounge. It's something bigger,
You think
attached to it." So it
I'm
was
listening
that
to you?
battle, but I just went in the house. I told my mom was there at the time. Huh?
I just heard.
I didn't hear
Maybe
you.
that
I'm
was your
sorry.
auntie. Your auntie was thinking about you, huh? She was
Yeah,
calling you. Get that
my mom was in the
dumpster
house.
diving. I
That
never
was
heard
my
of dumpster
grandmother. That
diving.
was my grandma's spirit. Yeah, my grandma's spirit was so strong in me. She told me to get the Chase Lounge. I went in the house and told my mom, like, the spirit is telling me to get this Chase Lounge. Don't want to do it, but we went over there and got it anyway. Um, I've never reupholstered. And this is the thing, get the Chase Lounge for what? I never reupholstered anything in my life. I've never touched a tool, didn't even know the first step. My mom had some inklings, some ideas, but me and my mom tackled that Chase Lounge together, you know. And when I was going through the process, it seems as though that it was a natural process, as if I've done it before. It felt familiar, just going through the process. And that's how it kind of started with that Chase Lounge about 11 years ago, 12, 11 years ago. My mom still have the Chase Lounge to this day. Um, but yeah, I started Teena's Legacy in the living room of my home with just 4 girls. The idea was just to teach them the basic trade, just what I know. I didn't know much, so I can only teach them what I know. But the interesting part about it was, as we were going through the process, what I noticed is that when they were engaged in the process, they felt pressure lifting off of them, right? So when they were working with their hands, when they were in a creative space, in a safe space, when they were um, when they were doing the work. And I really, really believe when you align yourself in creativity, you're
Mm,
aligning yourself with your creator. And I
mhm,
really believe at that time, they didn't know, I didn't know, but we were aligning ourselves with our creator during that process. And when that happened, the dialogue just started to flow, right? I started to find out more about who they were as individuals. I started to find out about their current situations, their household situations. I
mm,
started to find out, what they like, what they didn't like,
mm,
some of the things that they were dealing with personally and emotionally. I'm not a I'm not a counselor, psychotherapist, or anything like that. I was still learning and growing I was in my 20s, right? Like probably late 20s, early 30s. So I didn't even know who I was. Like, how do I do
yeah,
this, right? Like it
yeah,
was
yeah.
really, really
It's a
interesting.
life process. You question is
But
unfolding. Hmm.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. I didn't hear you.
Oh no, I was saying that we're constantly unfolding. It's just as I said earlier that I'm just learning some of the things that you have already embraced in your life, learning, and it has taken me
Mhm.
quite a long time, but I don't complain anymore about it. I was saying, oh, it's better than never learning, but it is so important to understand that we were not put on this planet to solve issues of not even ourselves without help. We all
Without help.
need someone. And you're calling on so many people. Oh, and Regina saying, thank you so much, Mama Joy and Jamika. And I'm so grateful for her, responding because we want you to chime in, text or either, if you're here on the phone and there are listeners here on the phone, check one, press on one so that you can come on and make a comment because, and I wanted you to so much so tell that story because that's one that I really, really love because you started from the beginning. Let's see, we got a hand up here. 4320. You have a comment that you'd like to make, please?
Hi, this is Dr. Pritchett. How's
Oh
everyone on
my
the line?
goodness. Dr. Pritchett.
I heard you say that, and I just wanted to just add what you had alluded to, Reverend Mama Joy, is that we need help. And just to give you a clear view of it's all right, accept help, even if you don't ask for help. If you look at Jesus, he had been in Pilate's hall all night long, and they beat him unmercifully. As he was going to Calvary, he kept stumbling and falling under the weight of the cross. And so one of the Roman centurions called a young man to come over to carry his cross. His name was Simon of Cyrene. And so if you ever think you don't need any help, there is help available for you even when you don't ask for it. Look at Jesus. God bless you and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Wow. Now that's a really deep analogy there. I didn't think of that at all. I mean, I was nowhere in the ballpark on that. And that is a coincidence that actually occurred in the scripture. Jesus didn't ask for the help, but the help came.
He didn't.
He didn't. That's amazing. For whatever reason it was. But he didn't refuse it. He didn't refuse it. And I want to thank you for that. That's a sermon in itself. That's a sermon in itself. So I appreciate your comment here. And Dr. Pritchard is one who is a chaplain with the police department, and she has it's an organization that you're working with Sisters to Sisters, which is also a unique kind of healing that goes on too. And if you want to tell us a little something about that, and you know what, I'm gonna ask if you would bring Miss Jamika in so she can share some of her victories through just this simple appliance of her talent and finding someone's trash and finding the treasure of the uniqueness of her gift that God had given to her to be able to bring her some peace. I'm
Let me just add this to you. I don't mean to interrupt you, but the first thing, anybody, you have to get to know who your authentic self is. Oops, how do you get to know that, sister? You go to God and you ask him, let me know me as I am known by you. Period. You see, it's between you and God anyway.
Because everybody else is just like you, breathing in and out of their nostrils. Should be going to the manufacturer that breathed the breath of life into your nostrils. So, the scripture teaches us that if you lack wisdom, to ask of God and He'll give it to you liberally. So you ain't got to wonder about anything. You ask Him, Lord, let me know me as I am known by you. That is your authentic self, not what someone says that you need to do, and you know you ought to this one and that one. You go direct to the manufacturer, and you make clear to you. But you got to be open and receptive to receive the answer. Thank you.
Whoa. Receive that. Receive that. What are your comments on that, Jamika? Thank you so much, Dr. Pritchett. Thank you so very,
No,
very.
no, I truly agree. Yeah, I truly agree. Even the journey is not easy, and I don't think that the journey is supposed to be easy. The reason why it's not easy is because challenge you, just like you guys were saying, it challenged you to reach out, to other people. It challenged you to to strengthen your relationship with God. It challenged you to question who you are as an individual. you know like even this morning when I was in my meditation and praying, the question that I had for myself was, Jamika, because we all, like I said, this journey is just an ongoing process. So my question to myself, Jamika, that you are a child of God, right? You know that God dwells within your temple as a spirit. So if you know this, how should you navigate with this knowledge on this earth, right? Like, what does it really truly mean to be a child of God?
Good question.
What does it really mean to be a child of God? And I think that that is our journey, trying to figure that question out for ourselves. When I wake up in the morning, what would a child of God do? Right? When I'm talking to my daughter, if she's doing something, um, what would a child of God do? Right? Or when I'm talking to Cy, and Cy, he's all about the community, Black people, power to the people, you know. What would a child of God do? I mean, it is so not an easy thing to do. And what I'm trying to do is not put so much pressure on myself, because what I noticed, if I were to put pressure on myself, I would probably go into this depression state. And this depression state or sad state is related to lack. It's related to not living up to the responsibility of knowing what I know is true for myself. And you battle with that. I battle with that. Like, I know that I am abundant. I know that I'm rich. I know these things, but the sadness comes from, the flesh side of you. But I don't see it in my life. I don't, and that's the separation. And that's why I kind of love this process, because again, you have something old, you have something, uh, that needs some loving on, and it's so life relatable. You can relate it to any situation that you're going on in your and upholstery requires three important things, right? It requires, number one, patience.
That's a
Patience
very
is the
true.
key to
That's a very
this
true.
particular, and patience is the key to to becoming and walking. The theme is walking in your authentic self. Patience
Mhm.
is the key to walking into your right. Other thing, number two with this process is paying attention to the details, you know, and
Paying attention to
relating
what
this
did
to
you
life.
say, Jamaica? What did you say?
Paying
Paying
attention
attention
to
to
the
what?
details.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, paying attention
Mm.
to details, right? How often do we pay attention to the detail, the little details in our lives? Like my body, little details, for example, my body tells me exactly what it needs to survive, right?
Mm.
My body
Okay.
will tell me if that food is not good or if that food is good. Because I choose not to pay attention to those
Mhm.
little bitty details,
Mhm.
now I have inflammation in my body because I didn't pay attention. And
Mm. Mm.
it's the same thing with this process and with these cheers. Because when I notice when the women go through this process, they always try to rush it. They try to
Mm.
rush the process opposed to paying attention. Because the thing about it is that it seems like an impossible task, but if somebody put it on, you can take it off and put it on too, right? It's doable. You can put it on. Um, but when you take it off, you get so flustered and frustrated because you didn't pay attention when you was taking it off. You were paying attention to the details on how it was put on, right? So even with our own life, stuff was put on us. Like my dad, like my psychotherapist, she gave me an assignment. The assignment was for me to put all of my characteristics in the middle, put my dad characteristics on the left, my mother's characteristics on the right, right?
Mhm.
And she asked me, where did your characteristics come from, right? From your parent, from your mom, and from your dad. And she was like, put down all of the good and bad characteristics, right, that you possess within yourself. And you put the good and bad from your mom, but good and bad. And so she had me to do like this, process of elimination type of thing, right? My dad is a procrastinator. My mom is a procrastinator. My dad is this and my mom is this and I am too. So it gave me the opportunity to see what they put on me and
Mm.
I didn't even ask for it. But subconsciously, not directly, but they just put it on me, right?
They
And
were
then
just who they
she
were.
told
They were
me
just living
to
their life.
label this.
Mhm.
They was living exactly. So she told me to title this "Giving Them They Shit Back," and I was like, "Okay, I can do that, right? Giving them their shit back. They put it on you. Now you have the opportunity to give it back to them."
Mhm.
And it was more of an eye opening, situation for me. Like, oh, and it goes with the environment, your situations, the things that you go through, all of that stuff is put on you. So when we're thinking about these cheers and stripping all of that stuff off, layer by layer to come to a point where you have the power to create whoever you want to create when you release those labels and release those roles and expectations from other people. What does that look like when you have like a blank canvas?
Something to think about. That is really something to think about. And I never thought of it in terms of that, but you're right. We're clothed with other people's thoughts and ideas about who we are, you know. And my grandmom and grandfather, oh, let me first say, acknowledge Sister Claudette Reddick is on the line here, and she says,
Hey,
"My
Claudette.
she said, my sisters, what a great demonstration of wisdom from a spectrum of experiences. Thank you both." And Carla says, "That's good." From another from our love journey line. Yeah, this is really amazing. We don't think about that, but we come from two different worlds, and we only see ourselves here in this place alone, and not realizing that we have two different worlds impacting upon us, and in a way that they would not think they are. They're raising us according to what they feel is best, but they're not taking
Mhm.
in account of how they are demonstrating and living their lives. And like the kids used to tell me in the schools, they said, "Hey, we don't hear a word you saying, because your actions are so loud. Just you just pumping up the action. And as long as we are behaving contrary, then where are we getting our modeling from? You know? And so these are the
Mhm.
clothes, the kind of things that are happening to us, and why demonstration and being cognizant of our modeling to our young people and to others is so important. So we're going to take our last break. And so don't stray, don't go away. Miss Jamika Smith is on the line telling us that, hey, when we, even with our parents, when they lay all that on us, just give it right back to them. That's the kosher version. So we'll be right back. Just give us a couple of more minutes as we uh, honor our sponsors. And those of you who are on the line, we're asking that you just press the one in the queue. And when your hand goes up, your mic will be open and we will plug you in. So in the meantime, just don't stray. We'll be right back. Okay? Thank you.
Do you or your organization need space for an event? Call the Quarry Event Center at 2423 East 75th Street in Chicago for your parties, banquets, award ceremonies, repasses, concerts, and business seminars. Available 7 days a week. Now under new management. Call us at the Quarry at 773-663-2557. That's 773-663-2557. Do you worry about finances, family, health, job, relationships? Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answered yes to any of these questions, help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. You only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down to earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. Whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish a book, promote your product or service, or just make extra money. To take advantage of the deal of the day, go to zeldaspeaks.com or call 312-409-6619. Mention promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. That's zeldaspeaks.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit zeldaspeaks.com. Do you have a product or service? Take your business global and get new customers from around the world. Advertise on the Female Solution radio show. You may have a great product. You may even have a fantastic website. But how do you let people know you exist? Tell them. Promote your business on one of the most dynamic shows on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution. You'll reach an enthusiastic audience of more than 100,000 loyal daily listeners with a specially designed 30-second ad that will drive customers directly to your website. We'll send you statistics as tracked by Blog Talk Radio to let you know the numbers and demographics of those hearing your advertisement. Your ad will run during the live 2-hour morning show from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it will be heard all day long by listeners who listen to the archived shows. You'll reach our worldwide audience on their laptops, iPods, iPads, and cell phones. Watch the orders for your product or service increase. Just go to our website, www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com and click on the radio advertising page. Send us your words. We'll create a 30-second radio ad and watch your business increase worldwide.
Well, okay. Thank you. Thank you for not straying away. I want to thank you so very much because right now we're coming into our last half of our show with our guest here today, Miss Jamika Smith from Teena's Legacy, where we are talking about healing that can be into the chairs and upholstery, how she found this item, this lounge chair in an alley, and now she's working in a growing business, bringing peace to people. Now, I have a real special person that's coming right now. He's got his hand up all the way from Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. So I know
Woo-hoo.
and this is Uncle Michon, who has a book out called "I Am Not Your Black America," and so I'm happy to have you with us today too to come on in here because we're discussing how this young lady is able to take her talent that God has given her. Are you there, Uncle Michon?
I am here. I am here.
That voice, yes, I'm here. Yeah, okay, all right. You're the first male voice that we've had today. So, well, welcome you so much, and so Tamika is here. She's smiling because she mentioned the number of places. I believe you stayed in Kentucky somewhere in that Jamaica, Tennessee. I know you were in Tennessee, in Georgia, and I passed through all of those going to my family reunion today.
Yeah,
And
Memphis, Tennessee. I went to
okay, so he's got his book, and when you mentioned it was so apropos, you mentioned that she was mentioning about how when you went to therapy and she learned that all of these things that her parents had put on her and she wasn't aware of it. And honestly, I don't think the parents were either because I know as a parent we were directing our children in one way, but then we don't take an account of our own behavior. And and so now his book is called "I'm Not Your Black America." And so I think that you're speaking almost in the same vein, the need for us to be able to take off all of these various ideas and expressions that we have that's been put on us and walking our own path. And this is part of what walking your authority is, removing all of these things and becoming your authentic self. So you want to share us something about your book, and we'll be right on.
Well, I just want to thank you for connecting me. I am recovering from the Cat Williams event that just took place here in Louisville, Kentucky last night. And I just want everybody to know that Cat Williams, and I've never been really a Cat Williams fan, but since he been on Shay Shay, and when he went and said some things about the horrific things that's going on in our society, it ties in right into my book. And I just want to let everybody know, if you've not been to a Cat Williams event, okay, I'm telling you, this man prophesied, Mama Joy, he prophesied about the filth, the horribles, the indecency things that we all been captured by, either by our country, by our parents, not knowing that the ugliness that we've been sowed into our spirit as children are damaging us if we don't get that therapy and that healing to heal ourselves. And that's what my book is all about. My book is all about I'm Not Your Black America. And the people that I'm talking to is not us culturally immediately. I'm talking to the dominant European culture that put our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, and everything in the mess that we are in today. We're suffering from so much stuff. My parents done to me what they couldn't help but do to me because of their own brokenness, their stuff that they were going through. And I'm going to say this to people, so I'm going to say, and it's deep when a man says this, I hated my mother growing up, okay? Hated her with the fierce. Why? Because I saw so much dysfunctioning going on in my household and everything that it pained me. I couldn't talk to my friends. I couldn't hang out with none of it because the dysfunctional that was going on in my household was just horrific. And one day I stood up to my mother when she was trying to discipline me because I decided to come home late one night. I was drunk, full of drugs, and everything. I was rebelling. And I stood up to mother. And the best thing that my mother done for me, and I'm telling you this for a reason. If God can heal you when you pay attention. My mother, when I stood up to her and told her, you not going to put your hands on me, come at me with that, because all the dysfunction. And I had never talked to my mother like this before, so this was like a rare thing for me to do. But by the time I was finished, Mama Joe, I tried to commit suicide because we had this Cornell in front of us, and I tried to run to that Cornell and jump in, and my mother caught me and brought me back. And she admitted to me the next day that I was right. And my mother put me in the military in 1978. It was the best thing of therapy away from the dysfunctioning. And so when I heard the young lady talking earlier, she's absolutely right. Our parents, I had to forgive my mother. I'm a joy. 10 years, 15 years later, I came back and forgave my mother and my parents for all that they did not know. And that's the key. Sometimes we don't realize that our parents doing the best that they're doing based on what they know. They just don't know. Just don't know. So I hope that was. So I'm just jumping in there, celebrating, excited about what I experienced with Catwoman. But I recommend anyone who wants to read a book that is just not your traditional book. I Am Not Joe Black, America, by Uncle Sean T. Daniels.
And it is a good book. It's an eye opener book, and it's one that I just couldn't read all at one time. It was so much that went on. I recommend that to you, and we appreciate so much your transparency. Oh my gosh, just love you. And
And Mother Joe, Mother Joe, can I just say, I find this amazing. Do you realize that Blog Talk Radio was my first podcast that I done? We talked about 20 years ago. You can still. It was called the Focus Show. I had 178,000 people listening to me on Blog Talk Radio.
wow.
So when I heard you talk about Blog Talk Radio, I said, this can't be true. Blog Talk Radio. I started my conversation on Blog Talk Radio. We talking about 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Oh wow. Now I'm a newbie. 20 years. But it's been a delight. It's been a delight hearing from you, and hey, and your
Congratulations.
schedule, and you took time.
Congratulations on your broadcast. I'm so proud of you, Mama Joe. Look at you. Look at you, just some blossom. Look at them. You just some blossom and everything. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go get back to your show because I'm not trying to. I will be in touch. Invite me anytime, and have that young lady send her my number. Get in contact there. I'd love to talk to her. Have her be a guest on my show.
Oh wow! What do you think about that, Jamika?
That would be amazing. I am open. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, let's get that connection going. Love it. Thank you so very, very much. And that's for anyone here who as the number 515-605-9325 and press 1 if you want to chat in. Again, we thank you, Uncle Michonne from Louisville, Kentucky, who put up a sign in Main Street of Louisville, Kentucky, saying, "God is our parent. God is both our mother and our father."
You gonna remind everybody I did that? Yeah, I did do that.
Oh,
Man,
that
I
was
got
a
all
pretty
kinds of
courageous thing to
conversations
do.
about that, but
That's true, and I think
yes,
Jamika,
I sure did in the heart of the black community. Yes,
in the
I
heart
sure
of
did.
the black community,
God is our parent. I sure did.
Well, thank you again, and I see that. I think Jamika is evidence of the spirit of that heavenly essence in herself and what she's doing, as a mother and as a wife. And just thanking you again for joining us. And we're going to move right on. We just
You make sure she get in contact with me. Make sure she give her my number and everything. And I like to make the connections. And let's build on that, okay?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, we'll do that today.
Love.
All righty.
All right. Love you now.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
God bless you, and thank you again. Anyone who's on the Block Talk Radio, if you want to join the conversation, just press 1 and we'll open up the queue for you as well. Again, thank you, Uncle Michonne from Louisville, Kentucky. All right. Okay. How you feeling now, Jamika? And where are you now?
I'm awesome. I feel good. I feel good. It didn't seem it. I mean, a conversation, when you think about 2 hours, you're like, what are you going to say in 2 hours? But I mean, the conversation has been flowing and it's been a really, really great conversation. So thank you so much.
All righty. Well, let's see if I can get some more comments in here. I do see some other comments coming in. So we're just grateful for that, But I think that one of the things that you mentioned, and it's a very difficult and painful experience, is to, because I also had that experience, learning about how my parents affected me, and I was angry, but then I wasn't angry. I was perplexed. I was really confused because I knew my mother loved me, but it's something when you live a life and you don't know love without pain. It's just so it's difficult. Is it such a thing as love without pain? Because even when they beat me, it just literally tear up my skin. And I said, well, golly gee, what could I have done? But it was just almost a norm. And we accept these things because they're our parents. But then as I grew, I began to realize that it was traumatizing me.
Mm-hmm.
And it caused me to be traumatized. And we got another. Oh gosh, we got another call coming up here. 1633. And who are you and where are you calling from?
Hey, Mama Joy, this is Carla, and I'm calling from Humble, Texas.
Oh my God, Miss Carla. This is such a surprise. How are you? This is another author. And Lord, and to me, Jamika, she's an author of a book, The Things My Mama Didn't Tell Me. Would you believe that? Things my mama didn't tell me. I tell you, I got to get you on here to tell about that book again too.
Awesome.
So what words you have for Jamika? Now she's in Texas now, but she was here in Chicago for a while, and one of the love journeys with
yes, yes. Chicago is home. Texas is my replant spot. That's what we call it. We've been transplanted. But Chicago will always be home. But no, it was really good. I liked, I work with women who have severe trauma And, we peel back the layers and you peel back the layers. And like you say, I like how you said, give that back because you don't have to hold on to it. Give it back because it's not yours to carry. Give it back. And people can only do what they know to do because they weren't taught. So we want them to be, we have this idea of what we want them to be, but truly they couldn't be that because they weren't shown that. So we have to have that grace and that allowing them to allowing ourselves to understand they did the best they could with what they had, but I don't have to carry it on further, and I can change that cycle. I can break that off of my lineage. So it's been good conversation.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you so very much. Yeah. And one of the things about it is you carry it, Carla, and you don't know it. For instance, she went to a therapist and she didn't even realize that she was carrying something that was negating her authenticity, negating who she is, and working against her. And she didn't know what it was until she was going through these sessions and discovered that. And Jamaica, what you have done is taken those experiences, and when you do the upholstery, now I'm beginning to understand why you speak like you do with the children and those of your students when you are teaching them to take off the old and the pain. Each, as you would tell us about the pain, taking out the staples and all these things, because we all those things brought us pain, and in order for us to get a new covering, we have to take all that out. Come on, give us some more feedback on that.
Mhm.
Oh, Carla, she's
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really realize how deep it was until, like I said, working with the four girls in the dining room of my home, and when they was working on on their own chairs and the conversations that was coming up through the particular process, and their idea of when they first seen the chair, they felt that it was impossible to do just by looking at it. They felt that I can't do this. This is impossible. But once they start working at it and starting the process from the bottom up, and every step tells you the next step, because if you skip a step, it's but if you go according to how the pieces are placed on the chair, it will be a little bit more easier. But the beautiful part about it is having these young women go to the fabric store. One, they've never been to a fabric store before, but two, giving them a job, giving them a task. And that task is to find fabric that represent the woman that they inspire to become. So that means that you have to go through this fabric store. You got to feel the fabric. You have to uh, maybe even talk to the fabric or whatever. But it was just this one young lady. She picked like this this flux fur, and it was pink, and it had some some kind of glitter in inside of it. And her reasoning behind picking this pink flush fabric was when she grow up, when she becomes the woman that she desires to become, she want to be soft. She want to feel soft. And when people look at her, she don't want people to look at her as a hard exterior, but someone who has a soft, and pretty exterior, because at that particular, time in her life, she always had to have her guards up. She always had to be tough in the environment. She always had to fight for her voice. She had to fight, for her body. She had to fight, for her existence. And she was just explaining, I'm tired of fighting. Can I not be soft sometimes? As a woman, I don't want to have to fight was her thing. So she picked this fabric, and it just, yeah, it just felt so good for her. It felt good in my spirit. That's when I realized that is something more deeper than just teaching them a trade, that they can have like something that they can fall back on to generate some income for their household. Because that was the initial purpose of Tina's legacy, was a apprenticeship, teaching them the trade. Everybody got aunties and uncles and cousins and grandmas who probably got some worn out dining room chairs or a footstool that needs some loving on. It was just an opportunity for them to uh, use this trade to generate some income until they can figure out who God wants them to be, or their true purpose, because upholstery is not for everybody.
And you know what, Jamika? I hate to do this, but we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pick this up again. I want to thank our callers, and I think that's a really cool note to end on. Learning and having the courage to change and be what God has called you to be. So I want to thank our guest today, Miss Jamika Smith.
We've come to the end of our show today.
I hate to
You can hear
interrupt like
every
this.
show in the
All of a sudden, it
archive
just sneaked
at
up on us having such a good time. So thank you so much. Thank you, caller, and all of you all who sent in. Please join the
You can also hear today's show on the Female Solution
Female
Facebook
Solution
page.
every day.
Go to
with 7 days a week, okay? So God bless you. Thank you. It's Mama Joy.
Leave your
saying sign
comments
out.
about
Walking
today's show.
authority.
You can always reach me on my website at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows.
See you.
Listen to our radio shows. Order our book. And be sure to get your copy of the book, The
Good
Female
job.
Solution.
Bye.
Okay.
On
thank
behalf
you.
of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyaba,